lw'amawanga kubanga n'abagakulira bennyini bakiwakanya era baavumiridde n'okukwatibwa kw'abakulembeze baabwe. Abasibe abamu baayimbuddwa oluvannyuma lwa poliisi okusengejjamu abo be yeetaaga okwongera okukunya babeeko kye bagibuulira.
Tulina kati engeri gye twataddeko 36 tulina 12 betusigaza betujjako statement.
Okutwalira awamu embeera ejja ekuba ku matungo amasomero, bizinensi n'emirimu emirala bitandise okuddamu okuggulawo. Solomon Kaweesa, NTV Akawungeezi.
NTV Akawungeezi. Mu mawulire amalala abamu ku bantu abagambibwa okulumbagana abasabi abali mu kanisa ekyegegwa ne bagattako n'okutta omusirikale babadde bakwatiddwa olunaku olwaleero. Abatuuze basoose kubagwako mu kibira ekimu ne babakuba emiggo mizibu okumaliriza nga 2 ku bo babassa abalala 3 ne batwalibwa mu ddwaliro nga bali ku bisago eby'amaanyi. Wabula tugenze okujja ku mpewo nga tutegedde nti bano nabo bafudde.
Abdul Salim Hakizimana yagambibwa okulira ekibinja ky'abantu abeerimbika mu Buisiraamu ne balumba ekkanisa gye buvuddeko ekyegegwa ne batta abantu abali basaba ssaako n'okutta omusirikale wa poliisi. Ono n'abamu ku banne abalala bali ku bitanda mu ddwaliro lya Kyegegwa Health Center 4 olw'ebisego bye baafunye wakati mu kubakwata era bajjanjabibwa wakati mu bukuumi obw'amaanyi. Bano baakwatiddwa oluvannyuma lw'abatuuse nga bali wamu n'ab'obuyinza okubazingiza ku nsalo y'ekyegegwa Kyenjojo ne Kibaale mu kibira kya gavumenti ekya Ibambaro Central Forest Reserve.
Abantu babulijjo bwe batuyamba ne babakwata then ne bayita poliisi ne bajjayo naye nga bamaze kubakuba bubi.
Abakwate ekyokutta abantu tebakyeganye wabula ne bategeeza nga bwe batajjusa olw'ekikolwa ekyo kubanga eddiini kyebalagira.
Era Kurani kyogerako
Egamba ejja Kurani.
Kurani gamba nti omuntu omurogo bamutte.
Wabula ne beegaana ekyokozesa emmundu nga bagamba nti bonna bye batta babatematema nga bakozesa biso.
Naye abantu bonna nabo terimu n'omu ayali alina embundu.
Mwali mukozesa busaale na biso?
N'obusaale tebwali buliwo.
Mwali mulina biso?
Bano bagamba nti abasooka okubalumba ne batuuka n'okubattira munnaabwe be babaleetera okukola ekikolwa kino. Aduumira poliisi y'Ekyegegwa Tibakirana Moses akakasizza okukwatibwa kw'abantu bano n'agamba nti abamu ku bakwate bakuumibwa mu kaduukulu ka poliisi y'Ekyegegwa.
Bo bakkiriza nti basiraamu naye si bayeekera. Bagamba nti baagala omuntu yenna afuuke ki? Afuuke musiraamu.
Wabula wakyaliwo abalala abatanaba kukwatibwa era bw'atyo ono asabye abatuuze okwongera okuyamba ku poliisi abakola ettemu lino bonna basobole okukwatibwa.
Ekibinja kyali kimamu abantu nga 15 naye kati waliwo 3 bekitumu basi looking for.
Ab'ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku butonde bw'ensi Kinema bagamba nti omukka oguva mu mmotoka enkadde gwa bulabe nnyo okusinga omukka oguva mu sigala. Onojjukira nti emmotoka ezisinga mu Uganda zonna nkadde ekisusse ekitegeeza nti obulamu bw'abantu buli mu katyabaga ak'amaanyi ennyo. Neme egamba abanyi ba sigala balina eddembe kasita tebakoomerwa minwe gyabwe awali abantu abatamunywa. Bo ab'ekibiina ki Family Life Network baagala wabeewo emyaka egyessalira okugeza ng'omuntu atasukka myaka 21 tanywa oba okuguzibwa sigala.
Okunoonyereza okwakolebwa kampuni ya Feasible Solutions ku bidduka mu Kampala mu mwaka gwa 2013 kulaga nti bizinensi y'okusuubula mmotoka enkadde wano mu Uganda kye kimu ku bintu gavumenti byesinga okufunamu omusolo. Bwe twogereranga emisolo egiva mu mmotoka enkadde gikwata kyakusatu ku bintu ebiyingizibwa mu ggwanga. Bwe weetoololako mu kibuga Kampala buli wamu kati wamerukawo ebifo ebitundirwamu mmotoka enkadde newankubadde bangi bazirabanga empya. Kino newankubadde kiri bwe kityo ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku butonde bw'ensi Kinema kitegeeza nti mmotoka enkadde za bulabe nnyo eri eggwanga olw'omukka ogw'obutwa oguzivaamu okusinga ogwa sigala.
Omukka oguva mu sigala mubi naye nga gukyali mutonotono bwe gutyo. Omukka oguva mu mmotoka enkadde kubanga nnyingi tuzina nnyingi ku nguudo zaffe zikosa nnyo obulamu bw'abantu, embeera y'obudde na biki byonna byonna.
Bano okwogera bino babadde mu kakiiko ka Paalamenti akavunaanyizibwa ku by'obulamu ne bawa endowooza zaabwe ku bbago erigenda okugira okufuuweeta sigala mu bifo eby'olukale wamu n'okumulanga.
Emmotoka enkadde ziwa omusolo mungi okugezaako okuddaabiriza embeera y'obudde kubanga zikosa nnyo obudde obwo.
Abanneme era balabudde nti tekigenda kubeera kyangu okussa mu nkola etteeka erikugira sigala.
There are weaknesses here which I have highlighted, and if these weaknesses are carried to that bill, then it will collapse. And the one you have said, the multi-sectoral approach for implementation is a recipe for the bill just to go to sleep.
Bagamba nti n'abanywi ba sigala nabo balina eddembe lyabwe kasita baba nga tebalinyiridde eddembe ly'abalala.
Do you have the right to contaminate somebody who smoke?
He has the right to smoke without infringing on the rights of others.
Ebyo byonna byonna biri mu interpretation zaabo bannamateeka, naye nze mmanyi nti omuntu anywa sigala naye alina eddembe.
Ky'ekitongole ekivunaanyizibwa ku kutumbula embeera ennungi mu maka ki Family Life Network nakyo kibadde mu kakiiko ke kamu.
The ban on the sale of tobacco products to children, and we want to uphold that, let this go from 18 to 21. Anybody below the age of 21, cigarettes or tobacco products should not be sold to them.
Ebbago ku sigala ligendereddwamu okuwera okumulanga wamu n'okumnywera mu bifo eby'olukale. Jingo Francis, NTV Akawungezi.
Wamalidde awo ng'eddakiika ziri 16 eziyise ku ssaawa emu. Tugenda mu kitundu ekyokubiri naye kankubulira ebimu ku bikirimu. Abazadde n'omuke Butambala bakwatiddwa lwa kufumbiza omuwala atanneetuuka ew'omusajja gwe bayise omwavu ate olwagize ne bamugjayo ne bamufumbiza omugagga. Ojja kulaba abasiraamu b'embaala abasoowaganye ne bawanyisiganya ebigambo ebisongovu lwa ttaka.
Having broken the hunger story in Napak, we appeal to the general public to contribute towards the Feed Napak initiative. Kindly donate items like clothes, food, shoes and other items to support our vulnerable brothers and sisters in Napak district, Karamoja. Kindly bring your donated items to the Uganda National Theatre from the 2nd to 30th June 2014 or send your mobile money contribution to Winnie Banage on MTN 0772 121986. For more information, call Diana on 0791 162357. We can do great things with great love. Eriemu n'eddakiika 2. Rose Nanteza ne Matia Waswa ab'e Butambala eyo bazadde w'omwana Juliet Nakanjako ennaku ezijja bajja kugira bazimala ku poliisi lwa kwekobaana ne bakozesa Nakanjako ono okukyanga abasajja. Bano ne ssenga wa Nakanjako bamufumbize omusajja oluvannyuma mu kulaba kwabwe ne bazuula nga mwavu muzibu. Amagezi ge baasaze Nakanjako ew'omwavu ne bamugjayo ne bamutwala ew'omusajja gwe balowooza nti mugagga alina ke yeekoleddewo. Omuwala ayogerwako abamu nti taweza myaka 18 ye abyegaanya agamba emyaka agiweza ne bazadde be balumiriza nti 18 agiweza. Ab'Eggombe mu Butambala eno emboozi kumpi ebasiibye ku mimwa.
Omulongo Matia Waswa ne mukyala we Rose Nanteza batunudde ebikalu nga poliisi babuuza 45 olw'okwagala okufumbiza muwala waabwe atanneetuuka basobole okufuna ebintu ebyamangu.
Embaga y'ono bulungi nnyo neggwa okusenga omwana amutwala Nakanjako emutuusa eri nti yasimayo.
Kigambibwa nti ku Sande Waswa ne Nanteza baasalawo okufumbiza muwala waabwe eri Ronald Male era n'abawa ebintu bye yabadde asobola kyokka oluvannyuma lw'ennaku 2 ssenga w'omugole Juliet Nakanjako agambibwa okuba nti yeefudde n'aleeta omuko omulala gw'agamba nti mugaga okusinga ku Male era nga gw'ayagala atwale muwala waabwe.
nga yennyini yekanjula muwala bw'atuuka eri ndowooza yite byamukolaki byamusanyusa era omwana n'amulekera ne ku ssente.
Senga agambibwa okuba nti yafunye omusajja gw'agamba nti mugagga era bw'atyo kwe kwessa mu ddene okugenda n'oneyo omugole mu ddya gye yabadde yakafumba ennaku 2 zokka.
Senga yalabye ng'embeera mbi n'akubira essimu n'akuba essimu n'aŋŋamba mbona agenda kukoma oku mumandi. Kumandi n'akubira omusajja essimu n'amugamba amusange.
Omuwala ayogerwako kigambibwa nti yasoose kutegeeza poliisi nga bw'alina emyaka 16 ate oluvannyuma n'akyusa ng'alaba bakadde be bagenda kubasiba n'ategeeza nti alina emyaka 18. Oluvannyuma era ategeezezza poliisi nti senga we Kamugaba yamugumya nti bw'asanga ng'embeera mbi baakumunoona bamufunira omusajja omulala eyeesobola mu nsawo. Bano era bagenze ku kyalo Egomba omuwala gye yafumbiddwa ne bamuggyayo wabula bonna poliisi ne bakwata.
Ekituufu wano muna ate batupatisiko ne baga nti bafumbiza omwana omutundu ate bafumbiza omwana mu myaka 18.
Kati yagenza okulaba nga ennaku ziweze zibbiri ng'otamulaba kwe kupangisa ab'emmotoka ne bagenda bamukolaki bamukimayo era bamuggye mu kisenge.
Omukomala atayogedde ku kamera agambye nti ye ebyokukwata bakadde b'omuwala tabimanyi wabula yeetaga mukyala we kumuzzaayo waka era yeetakkiriza nti wa myaka 16. Kyokka bazadde b'omuwala balumiriza nti ekyokukima omuwala ow'omusajja lwabadde lukwe lwa senga si lwabwe.
Kuba yali yanekera ssente n'aŋŋamba mwana wange embeera gy'olimu si nnungi sisobola kuleka.
Omuwala n'amulumiriza nti yamufumbisa nga kyalina emyaka 16 yamukaka.
Poliisi egamba nti ekyanoonyereza ku ky'emyaka gy'omuwala bwe kizuulibwa ng'alina emyaka 16 kamuwasa ne bazadde be bonna baakuvunaanibwa.
Emyaka bwe giba nga giri anda abazadde b'omuwala bajja kukyajingwa omusango gwa procurement to defilement. Ate omusajja mwennyini abadde n'omuwala ajja kukyajingwa ne defilement.
Omuze gw'okufumbiza abaana abatanneetuka gukyagenda maaso ng'embeera eno eviiriddeko abaana bano kuzaala nga bakyali bato ate ne kibaleetera obuzibu.
NTV akawungezi. Omuntu omu yafiiriddewo mu kiro ekyakeesezza olwaleero abalala 3 bali ku bisago eby'amaanyi ennyo. Basi bano babadde yatomereganye ne loole Fuso mu Lwera awo okumpi ne Lukaya ku luguudo oluva e Kampala okudda e Masaka.
Akigamba yabaddeyo bateekinga motoka endala netomeragana ne Fuso fighter badde eva e Kampala. Mu baasi wafiiriddemu omukyalo omu n'abalala 3 ne batukibwa mu
Kibinnya ekyo. Abasiraamu ab'ebiwayi by'enjawulo mu disitulikiti y'Embale bawanyisiganyizza ebigambo ebikambwe wakati mu kukayanira ettaka buli kiwayiri ekigamba nti lyakyo. Abasiraamu okuva mu muzikiti gw'Ekireka Embale balumiriza Sheikh Rashid Wafula imaamu w'omuzikiti gwa Biraali okubabbako ettaka lino eriweza yiika nnamba. Kigambibwa nti Sheikh ono ye yakulembeddemu banne ne bajjawo olukomera olwabadde lwateekebwawo okwetooloola ettaka lino.
Weteno oba olina amaanyi nti mulina amaanyi jangu oba olina amaanyi mwasalidde ekiroowa lwaki
atakulekera nawe tomulekera ennyanja ekuttomera ne bano okutuuka okuwanyisiganya ebisongovu kidiridde Sheikh Rashid Wafula gwe bagamba okutandika okuzimba essomero ku ttaka lino wabula olw'okuba nti wabaddewo olukomera kigambibwa nti ono yakuŋŋaanyizza abavubuka okusooka okuluggyawo.
Batemye fensi y'abaana olw'ekigendero ky'okwagala okuwamba engulu era abasomesa bali mu kutya abaana bali mu kutya bane mutusabire nnyo.
Kyokka ye Sheikh Wafula agamba nti ettaka lirye era nga yaligula mu mateeka.
Agamba nti ettaka lino lyaki lya muzikiti oba ettaka lino lya muntu gundi. Oyo aba alina okugenda ampaabire agambe nti nagula ettaka nga nagula mpewo.
Osobola okugula ettaka nga kyamane si wantaliiwo.
Oyo tumutwala mu dduwa kubanga tetumumanyi. Oyo tugenda kuwanika mikono wa Allah ye mwennyini afafaagane naki.
Bano tebakomyawo wabula bagenze mu maaso n'okwerangira obukumpanya ku bintu by'obusiraamu.
Abavubuka mbeere nga mwegendereza olwaliro buli ayagala okutukiriza ebigendererwa bye akozesa abavubuka nga imaamu w'ekifo kino ebbanga liramala nga nakyaliwo sijja kukkiriza oyo muganda wange mwennyini naye ku kyokubba ebintu by'obusiraamu sijja kukkiriza era olwasooka yaleeta miliyoni 5 n'enzigoba.
Muraba ebirevu ekirevu ekyange kirina enugu ng'ekikyo laba ekirevu kyange kirina ekikyo oyo none bwina ogwo wasoma woto akukolimire n'ebikolimo byo awo akukolime n'ebikolimo byo ng'oli musiraamu kati omuntu nga olwaki baswaza obusiraamu.
Kyokka waliwo okutya nti abaana bali ku ssomero bandiremu okusoma.
Ogenda okuntegera Sumani kozi weta amagezi nekunywa olugendo okuntegera kujjako nga sendegera tebamusika.
Otyo mu byemizannyo mu Brazil ne kaakati ebiriyo bya nnaku na busungu oluvannyuma lwa German okubakankabula ekiseero kya ggoolo ezaaweze 7 nga Brazil etebyeyo emu yokka. Omupiira guddamu olwaleero era Holland oba Netherlands bagenda kwegwako ne Argentina obugombe buveeyo. Omutendesi wa Brazil Felipe Scolari ono yatuuse n'okugamba nti olwajja olunaku olukyamusingidde okubeera oluzibu bukyatandika kutendeka mupiira.
Eyabadde kapiteni wa ttiimu ya Brazil yawangudde olunaku lw'eggulo David Luiz yetondedde eggwanga ne bazannyi banne okutwalira wamu olw'okwemukako baatuuseeko olunaku lw'eggulo. Brazil emanyiddwa nnyo mu kukyanga kapiira era nga yekyasinze okuwangula ekikopo kino olunaku lw'eggulo yatunudde ekiwekete. Germany yagisimulizaako ebitoomi n'ekikuba ggoolo 7-1 mu jjooga erikyasinze eri ttiimu eno. Mu ddakiika 29 zokka Germany yabadde bala ggoolo 5 ku bwereere ekyalesa abawagizi ba Brazil nga baginyenyiza mutwe ng'embuzi etenda enkuba. Ekisenge kya Brazil kyabaddemu David Luiz ne Dante kyalegeeza ebitagambika ggoolo ne zitandika okunywera okumukumu era bw'ekyo Germany n'esigala nga yeegiriisa ng'ekigotta entula. Omutendesi wa ttiimu eno Luis Scolari agamba nti okuwangula kuno kwe kukyasinza okumuzibuwaliza ensi obulamu bwe bwonna era ng'agamba nti ebyabaddewo byonna yavunaanyizibwa.
The choice, who decided the tactical lineup, the way to play, I did. So the results and the person responsible is me.
Okumanya nga bannansi ba Brazil banyiza ebitagambika baatuuse n'okwekalakaasa ssaako okwokya bendera y'eggwanga lino nga balaga obutali bumativu n'engeri ttiimu yaabwe gyesambyemu. Ye omutendesi wa Chelsea Jose Mourinho agamba nti kikyamu abantu okuteeka okuwangula kwa Brazil ku muzannyo omu yekka David Luiz so nga ttiimu yonna evunaanyizibwa kyenkanyi. Mu luzannya lwa semi-final olwokubiri lugenda okubeerawo olwaleero Netherlands egenda kuttunkana Argentina.
Mu birala ebyemizannyo Ssaabasajja Ronald Mwenda Mutebi atonedde ab'omuzannyo gwa squash obukadde bwa siringi 10 zibayambe mu kwetegekera empaka za Commonwealth ezigenda okubeera mu Scotland. Minisita w'amawulire ne Cabinet Ssengendo Walusimbi yawaddeyo ssente zino eri abakulira ekibiina kya squash. Ebyo nga biri bityo ne ttiimu egenda okukiikira Uganda mu mpaka ez'ensi yonna ez'abato ez'omupiira ya Kent Sports Academy naye esiibuddwa mu butongole Wankulukuku.
Abazannyi ba ttiimu ya squash bana abagenda okukiikirira eggwanga mu mpaka za Commonwealth bafunye akaseko ku matama oluvannyuma lwa Ssaabasajja okubakuba enkata ya bukadde 10. Ensimbi zino za kubayambako okwetuusaako ebikozesebwa wamu n'okubayamba ku by'entambula. Bano be bamu ku bazannyi ba Uganda 72 abagenda okwetaba mu mpaka za Commonwealth ez'omwaka guno. Ekibinja ky'abazannyi n'abakungu ekisooka kyakusimbula ku Sunday n'okwolekera ekibuga Glasgow ekya Scotland.
Ne Ssaabasajja Kabaka kennyini emizannyo agyenyigiramu mulaba bulijjo akeera ku makya okola drilo na guno gwennyini omuzannyo guno ogwa squash aguzannya.
Tusuubira nti abazannyi be tuyina tuyinza okuwangulayo medaali ezisingawo ze twafuna mu India.
Ebyo nga biri bityo ttiimu ya Kent Sports Academy egenda okukiikirira Uganda mu mpaka z'omupiira gw'abato ez'ensi yonna ezigenda okubeera Denmark, Sweden ne Norway esiibuddwa olunaku lwa leero. Minisita w'emizannyo Emmengo Ssekabembe Kiberu yaliko pulezidenti wa FUFA Lawrence Mulindwa ne Mujibu Kasule be bakoze ogw'okusiibula ttiimu eno.
Ebintu byensuubira nti bino bijja kuyamba ttiimu yaffe y'eggwanga Cranes ne ttiimu endala zonna eziri wansi ez'emyaka emito okusobola okulaba nti abazannyi bano tuba tusobola okubategeka mu nnamba ez'enjawulo nti buli nnamba neebamu abazannyi nga 5. Eggwanga lino lirina obuzibu
tetunaba kuzzaawo Philip Omondi wano.
Abazanyi ne Mike Mutyaba eyaliko omuzanyi wa Uganda Cranes olugendo luno balwogeddeko nga lwe basuubiramu ebibala.
Kinabeera nga tukungaanidde wamu ng'era yobadde mu Brazil kati nsuubirayo kuba competition ekuba y'amaanyi, nsuubirayo kubeerayo talent enyingi, nsuubirayo emikwano
n'eggwanga nga Uganda ne Uganda Cranes esobole okubeera ng'eganya obwamu kubanga omwana agenda asamba e Bulaaya oba tiimu ng'emuguza oba ng'emututte oba ng'eba mu scouting n'agenda ku trials oba kyonna ng'omupiira egutambula so kiba kya nkizo nnyo eri ffe ne ttiimu yaffe y'eggwanga era sibasobola okuyamba ttiimu y'eggwanga.
Ttiimu eno yakwetaba mu mpaka za mirundi 3 ezigenda okubeera mu mawanga 3. Sam Mpoza, NTV Akawungeezi.
NTV, turning on your world.
Sometimes children have amazing ideas, but they can lead to tough stains. And for tough stains, there's new Omo Fast Action. Its super fast cleaning technology removes stains fast. New Omo, no one removes tough stains faster.
Ekifo ekimu kissa wamusu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli lwakuna butereevu ku NTV Akawungeezi.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am a Muyai?
It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the 2 individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
Aro, give me 5 stress, 3 gonorrhea.
Kale muli wano, you think you've brought campasas. Omwana yena sobola gamba super deep. Si miaka jaffe.
I'm like, I like my swag too. So what about it? Then she was like, I also like your accent. That village accent. Now.
Kati nekambuuza mukabete why are you crying? Nekagamba abasajja engeri gye bafulumiza mu lukwago.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover. Put that in Kiprotich's accent.
I think I'm Big Mitch. Larry Hoover.
Program Guide is brought to you by
Jessa Smooth Yogurt.
Program Guide.
Jessa Smooth Yogurt comes in various flavors like vanilla, strawberry, and banana. Jessa Farm Dairy. Always trusted, always delicious.
Today's highlight with
Nice and Lovely Body Lotion.
Tell me who did this to you.
I didn't see. I don't know who did it.
I wouldn't want Macario as my enemy. He's very dangerous.
Don't you see? They did the same to her as they did to my mom, and I wasn't there to help.
Look for David. You have to stop him or else he'll kill him.
David Beltran Suarez, you're under arrest for attempted murder of Lucas Guillen, who's in critical condition after being stabbed 4 times.
What? But I didn't stab him.
You bring out the best in me. New and improved Nice and Lovely Body Lotion. The 24-hour skin moisturizer that's your skin's best friend. The best in me.
And the change of government won't stop a thing. I've run out of fingers counting the number of multinationals setting up here. What about the 3 companies that announced their plans to launch last week? I say they're shortly. Me, I'd be looking to sell. At what price? More. Much, much more. I don't know who you are or how you know these things, but one thing I'm sure of, you're in the wrong job. Here, call me tomorrow at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'd like to hear more from you.
Are you ready for your big break? The East African, understanding the region.
You're watching Morning at NTV.
Well, I wake up every morning with an ambition and a dream to change the world, but in the same breath, have one hell of a good time. That makes planning my day very difficult. So, what I'll do, I'll get ready with Morning at NTV. And so, will you? For the rest of the next 2 hours, we are going to set the day for you. Join us. My name is Brian Mlondo. Mabel Kebirunji is also ready. Simon Kasiate, Joel Senyonyi, Daka Bachigongo, and the rest of the entire Morning at NTV crew. Let's get started with the question of the day. If you're a banker, I think it would be unfair competition. So do not please attempt to answer that question. We will find out where you work. But if you're not, please feel free to head over to our Facebook page, Morning at NTV, and of course, use Twitter at Morning at NTV. You can also use our SMS platform, that is 6565, or follow us individually on our Twitter handles at MBGold2, at Joel Senyonyi, at Daka Bachigong, at Kasiate, and at Mebkeb. Mabel is standing by at the NTV studios. Mabel, another funny way, Messi goes through to the finals unnoticed, and I have a feeling it's going to be one of the most boring World Cup finals in history.
I don't really think so, Brian, because Argentina, really, they do play well. And the Germans, I think it has just been beautiful football throughout. I really would have preferred Germany versus Netherlands, that would have been really something to look forward to. But I don't think Germany versus Argentina is such a bad thing. I, however, also look forward to the third place playoff, which will be taking place on Saturday. Will Brazil be able to score any goal, or will we see another thumping by the Dutch? Well, welcome to Morning at NTV. Thank you for joining us this Thursday morning, whether you're on air or online in the comfort of your sitting room or at the office. I met a couple of people yesterday who told me they watch this show from their offices. Well, good morning, and my name is Mebo Kebirunji. We shall continue the show by taking a look at some of the news here at the station. The 2nd Division Commander of the UPDF, Brigadier Peter Olwelu, who is overseeing army operations in Western Uganda, has revealed that investigations indicate that some local leaders and officials from the Rwenzururu cultural institutions hatched Saturday's plot that saw at least 60 youth gunned down in Bundibujo. In an exclusive interview with NTV's Suhail Mugabi at Kanyamwirima Barracks, Brigadier Elwelu revealed that the attacks were well orchestrated and well funded.
It has been 5 days since the horrific incident that took place at a police station and Kanyamwirima Army Barracks in Bundibujo district. The 2nd Division Army Commander who oversees the UPDF's activities in Western Uganda, Brigadier Peter Elwelu, reveals that there are local council leaders and some Rwenzururu chiefs behind this plot.
LOC 3s, LOC 1s, some particular people, some other people who belong to the Rwenzururu institution within the region, within this district here. So a number of these people have been arrested, have been picked up for questioning, because their names keep on coming up from this the youth who were captured.
He also reveals that these attacks were heavily funded and that the main aim of the people behind them was to obtain guns and other forms of ammunition.
And this attack was well planned, well coordinated, and financed, because they had known that we have quite a number of weapons in our Ambra here. And the deception plan was attack the town first to draw the military out, and then you come in and acquire what you want. So the whole plan was get weapons, then the rest will follow.
On the intelligence lapses that President Museveni pointed out, Brigadier Elwelu says that they were let down by some of the members of the local community.
The intelligence is first from the people, the LOCs, the PISOs, and these are native, these are people from the same community. So without their cooperation, it becomes a problem for you, security, to deal with them. And this is where the problem came in. But the good thing is that we were prepared for it. When they eventually came in, we dealt with them accordingly.
He says that the army is now handling the situation and warns the people against taking the law in their hands.
People should not take the law into their hands by saying, no, this one was this, and then they lynch. No, we don't want that. These communities have lived here for centuries together. There is no need for killing one another.
The 2nd Division Commander adds that those with information leading to the return of the lost guns will be handsomely rewarded.
And whoever gets us the gun back, he will be rewarded. Those guns which were taken, so far we have recovered 2.
Among the weapons that were used by the assailants are 3 guns, a rocket-propelled grenade launcher initially stolen from the barracks, and blood-soaked bows and arrows, spears, catapults, daggers and machetes.
As you can see, there is now life here in Bundibujo market after the people managed to gain the confidence of the army and the police, who are on top of the security situation.
Kubanga buli webadde bagamba nti webali nga amagye gatuukawo ate ne tugenda okulaba nga emmamba mmotoka z'abamagye kati naffe ne tufuna okuguma.
For now, roads and shops and other businesses are now open, which casts a ray of hope to the people in Bundibujo district that the district will be much safer in the coming days. Suhail Mugabi, NTV, Bundibujo district.
Marine units are set to patrol Lakes Edward and George. They have been deployed as the army and police beef up security after clashes in the western districts of Kasese, Ntoroko and Bundibujo left scores dead. The heightened security also comes amid a stinging statement by President Yoweri Museveni in which he questioned why the attacks took the intelligence agencies by surprise.
Caught flat-footed over the weekend, the police and other security agencies met the community to chart ways on how best they can prevent a reoccurrence of tribal clashes in the district. The renewal of community policing came along with the deployment of a marine unit to safeguard the waters of Lake Edward. The marine boats and personnel will remain a permanent fixture here for some time. There has been suspicion that the perpetrators of the weekend attacks, which left up to 65 people dead, could have used the waters to plan the killings, or the waters could have served as an escape route. Kasese District Police Commander Michael Musana warned after a tour of Katwe landing site that those thinking of using the lake to carry out attacks risk being killed.
In case there are people who think of using the same lake, then of course police will always be there to do what they are supposed to do.
If they would be coming, could talk together with other guys so that they can come and pick them at night. They won't be coming here at night. With that one can help. They will go, they will not come back.
Lake Edward is shared between Uganda and the Democratic Republic of Congo, making the border between the two countries porous. After days of uncertainty, Kasese town is returning to its former self as the police and army continue to patrol the district and hunt down those suspected of having participated in the attacks.
Police has impounded a vehicle containing machetes and knives bound for the troubled Rwenzori region. Police publicist Fred Enanga says the occupants of the car are in custody as police seeks an explanation as to why they were carrying the items to an already tense region. And 200 people, including the two traditional leaders arrested during and after the weekend clashes, were screened yesterday. The traditional leaders will remain in police custody to help with investigations.
Cultural leaders, we still actually have them. We still have Misali Mukwenda, the minister in charge of veterans, and trying to at least get as much information that would be helpful. The fact that we had the involvement of veterans in this exercise, the veterans are under his ministry in the kingdom. So whatever information we get from him is very helpful. So we released about 45, and we still have 54 in Kasese and 11 whom we still need much more information from. So we recovered pangas and knives in a saloon car being transported. We arrested the suspects. These were new pangas and knives, and we've exhibited them and also interrogating the suspects to tell us where were the source, what is the source of these pangas, for the benefit of who and for what motive.
You're watching Morning at NTV this beautiful Thursday morning. We now cross over to Joel and Brian to find out what's making news in the papers. Good morning, Joel. Yesterday, there was a lot of hula baloo about this salary of 96 million per month. Is there anything in the papers about that today?
Good morning, Mabel. A lot is playing out in the papers, including that the Minister for the Presidency is coming out to clarify that. And of course, the other craze happening is Messi and his Argentina sneaking in, using the words of somebody, into the finals, and a lot more. The Rwenzori Kingdom is coming out with a rebuttal saying what the president insinuated, that they were responsible for the attacks in Fort Portal. They're saying, look, we are victims too. That and a lot more is coming up on the press review.
Good morning. Welcome to the press review. My name is Joel Senyunyi. Brian Mlondo is here with me. How are you, Chief? Are you happy, for example, that you were telling me this morning that Argentina, what did you say, sneaked into the finals or something?
Yeah.
Did you expected, what did you expect?
I don't think they're a team worth mentioning. Even.
Why? They've got Messi.
They do not bring any quality to the table.
Really? But
Yeah.
they've proved their worth anyway. Well, you'll discuss that and a lot more with Isma this morning, but if you ask me, good for them, good for them. I think they deserve it. Looking at what's playing out in the papers this morning, the Daily Monitor, Rwenzururu Kingdom says we didn't plan these attacks. Now, this is the day after the president attributed these clashes to the kingdom, and the kingdom officials, they're saying, look, we are victims too. And of course, Parliament is putting government to task. I saw somewhere here that the Speaker Kadaga is saying, I'm giving you about a day or so to explain these attacks. So we await to hear a lot more about these attacks.
Well, I think too little too late for Rwenzururu Kingdom to come out after 2-3 days of the attacks. And I guess more is even going on. They just found a car with machetes, brand new machetes. I don't know if that is true. Government may also be giving us this information to show that they are working to stop the attacks. But whether Rwenzururu Kingdom is a victim or not, I think we should not focus even on that. The fact is we are having armed civilians who are terrorizing, people, whether it's a tribal clash or not. Maybe I'm a bad person or not. I am of the view that if the person wants to kill you, eliminate them before they kill you.
So if they come to attack, they should kill them too.
So whether
government,
government
you have a lot of collateral damage.
Well, whether government kills 2,000 of them, the point is when they come to you, Joel, they're not asking you, hey, are you fine? Then they find out if you're fine. No. A person has come to take blood. So if you have the capacity to stop them before they take your life, do it.
But look, ultimately, I think we need to, I don't know, because there's tension that is simmering throughout the rest of the country. Slowly but surely. I know we are denying it, but we should keep alert.
And of course, yesterday, Professor Ndebesa was here trying to explain the whole, how the tribal thing works. But we also have the same issues in Bunyoro, where people want oil. The people who actually are on the land where the oil is are not even Banyoro. So when that comes up also, we shall have another, I guess the president may regret this whole monarchism thing. He's probably thinking, why did I reinstate them?
Well, he still continuing to do so. Now, the European Union welcomes clarification on anti-gays law. The other day we did have government coming up to say, look, this is not exactly as you think it is. We hope that clarification did go down well. No plan to change the anthem. This is according to Prime Minister Mbabazi. Tell me why you're laughing.
That should be some very good news for people like Kasiate and those who love this country. I actually met someone who said, maybe it is time to change the national anthem.
Why?
Because they feel like they are no longer inspired.
I'll tell you what I think, why I think Ugandans are very disconsolate. It is because they feel they have been let down by government. So anything attached to government, they feel, no, it should get out of the way. But things shouldn't be done that way.
People are no longer inspired, Joel, to be Ugandans, to be great.
Which is unfortunate.
So if anything is going to make us look into the right direction, I think people are looking for that.
I'm not too sure a changing of the national anthem will do exactly that.
It starts with the national anthem.
It is true. I don't think so. It's true Ugandans have been disenfranchised. Services are not delivered. Taxes are going higher every now and again. So people feel like, what is going on here? Meantime, we're being told to be patriotic and we are thinking, what more should we do? We pay taxes, there's no delivery of services. When they go to protest, exercise their rights, they're beaten up. So there is despondency.
I've always said, this whole striking thing is, I think it's not an issue because it happens in other parts of the world that are even more developed than us, where people strike, police gets to the streets and clobbers them. But why are we complaining when police here clobbers those who disrupt peace?
It is wrong, irrespective of where it is done. You talk about other countries.
But is it okay for you to get to the streets without police protection and steal people's property? Is it okay?
Well, it is not right if they go there to steal, but for much
But
of
that's
the time,
what
they really
happens.
don't go out to steal. You know, these guys go with the placards, they hold them, police comes, tears them apart, beats them up. As they get them, put them on their trucks, they continue to beat them. It is not right.
So why don't the owners of the demonstrations maintain the collateral damage? Why do they allow these things to spill up? Because if I'm on the street and I've opened my...
Not to beat up the protesters.
But the police has asked you, you're going to disrupt peace in the central business district, and you still, you know...
Actually, one of the issues that raised a lot of gas in that bill, now law, is that police were saying, look, you should inform us so that we inquire from the owner of the area, of, you know, whichever premises you're going to use, whether or not there's no other person who has hired to use it. And we're thinking, so police has become a broker. But anyhow, there you have it. He survived fierce battles, killed without a gunshot. This is Corporal Nabi Manya from Kasese. This security operative that did lose his life. Very unfortunate, very unfortunate. Now, this is what General Muntu says. He says government acted in panic, and he's saying there should be some kind of dialogue. We need to come to an understanding. What exactly is happening in Kasese, in Fort Portal? Because it's a feeling that this is slowly but surely, you know, picking up in some other places. We hope it doesn't catch fire like it did in Kasese, but there you are.
You know, and you know, you're seeing three things that there's a possibility that this is an organized rebel group.
It is actually very organized. There's not,
it
whether it's a rebel group or not, that we can debate. But whether or not they're organized, they're too organized.
I understand the president when he says, where were my spies? You know, if we are able to contain a terrorist attack that is far more organized than these local people, why can't we detect such things? So yesterday on the show I told you, there's an intentional shift of loyalty, and the president can't believe that the people he trusted are now, you know, slowly but surely letting go of him. So he's very vulnerable, and he needs to think about the options.
And talking about ineptitude, that list, that famous list, or infamous list for that matter, of State House salaries, the Minister for the Presidency comes out and is clarifying there's a new list that has come out. Apparently, the so-called the 96 million, 87 and so on, that was for annual salary. And they are now breaking it down. These people earn about, what, 8 million shillings? And
annual salary of one person.
One person, 96 million shillings. That
Let's
means
do
on
the
a monthly
maths.
basis, it's 8 million shillings.
No, let's do the maths. Person who earns 800,000 shillings.
8 million.
But the annual list is here.
This is 800, but the ones of 96 are this side, 8 million. That when you tabulate that by 12, that comes to 96 million shillings. Well, they are saying this is now the clarification. This is the real thing, you know. The other one was a typo.
Chabalide. Chabalide, let them accept. And you know, that's the problem. We've always known that they steal the money. Because at the end of the day, you can't bring a supplementary budget that is 2 times, much more than what you submitted when the budget was being read. So Chabalide, we know that they are thieves. We know that the money is being stolen. And some of us have grown to accept that. We are looking
You're living with it.
Yeah, we know. So when I see the Minister for Presidency doing what I call a desperate attempt to explain what the Secretary did, they should just fire the Secretary for
Let me
leaking
quote
information.
the Minister for Presidency, Frank Rumweba. He says that small things are small things and they should be treated as small things. Salaries of civil servants in the President's office are like those of other civil servants of Uganda, and they are even appropriated by this parliament. Look, you call these small things, I don't know. This doesn't seem small. It's raised a lot of dust, many questions now, especially now they talk about the supplementaries.
And yesterday I stopped and thought, do these guys want us to maybe stop talking about the Kasese attacks? So they are kind of distracting us with this whole salary drama. But like for me, I personally accepted that there's theft. Not these fancy words that we label graft, corruption.
Siphoning,
this is theft, daylight robbery. Some of us accepted that, and we are trying to do the best we can for our families, okay? And then we have handed them to the Lord to take care of
that.
Deal
with them.
To deal with
them. To judge them so severely.
So because even if we talk, things don't seem to be changing anytime soon.
Very unfortunate. Don't look at politics as a game. This is according to Katikiro. He's moving around still collecting a tofali. Was at the FDC headquarters and he's telling these people, this is not a game, like many times we tend to call it.
Yeah.
play it as well as you possibly can. Now, Prince Nakibinge intervenes in Muzata Munyagwa Rao. This guy who went to the bush and he was burning stuff, which
That's which doctor?
It looked like he's the witch doctor now.
I thought.
So he was feuding with Muslim leaders, and they call him the Jaja of Sidamu. Prince Nakibinge comes in to intervene there. Tell us what's happening in the red paper.
Well, the red paper this morning is saying presidential campaign pushed to 4 months. Is that more time? Will it give? I've always asked you, do you think the opposition will win an election even if we had a leveled playing field?
What do you call a leveled playing field?
If those electoral reforms that the opposition wants, if they were put in place, would they actually genuinely win an election?
There's only one way to find out. Let's have a leveled
No,
ground.
but we have a few polls that opinion polls that keep going, and those are we base them strongly on the result of the election. Do you think that they would actually win an election?
I don't know, but I would want to know. I would want to know, so let's make sure that...
No, Joel, you know that they would not know.
Why not? You see the kind of support they have. Sejus yesterday was saying, look, we rigged the election. If there was a leveled ground, you'd actually be very shocked, you know, what would happen in this country. So let's have a fair play. Let's have fair play, you know. Make sure that the Electoral Commission is not appointed by one of the players. And all these things. Let's sort out the Ebiru Mira, you know, and then Zabike, and we see. Because ultimately, I would congratulate whoever makes it through, as long as it is fair play. So let's ensure there is fair play.
Well, if you want to find out how the rebels caught Ugandan security sleeping, you can grab a copy of the red paper. Yes, they are labeling them rebels of the red paper, and find out, of course, the state house salary. The real list has come out. Maybe instead of 820,000, it should be 182 million. I don't know. But like I said, we have allowed, and we have accepted. UPDF boss has pinned over salary fraud, and this is in connection with AMISOM. Of course, we know one of the brigadiers is in custody for... Ondoga, yes. He's in custody for mismanaging that operation.
Now, in Heart to Heart magazine here, do you know who should escort you to your in-laws? You know, nowadays it's amazing. People have coasterfuls of people traveling to, I don't know, Bopa, Dengo, and wherever the case might be. How did you do it?
No, well, for me, I think it's...
Why are you editing?
I want to be very careful because we all grew up differently. But I think Kwanjulas are family things. I won't expect my...
You blow them out of proportion nowadays. You actually look at the Kwanjula and you're thinking, this looks like the real wedding. Back in the day, it used to be escorted by what? 5 or so number of people?
Yeah, but you see, even if you took 30 people, if you're my friend and you get annoyed with me because I didn't invite you to my Kwanjula, I don't care. I will not apologize for it because that's a family thing. Come to the wedding, boss, okay? But these are two families meeting, and for me, I took my family. And a few friends I consider brothers. Those are the ones I invited, so life goes on after that.
Okay, interesting, and a lot more happening in the Daily Monitor here. Busia health workers strike. These guys claim that on several occasions, government has distributed bicycles to all other districts, skipping their own. So they are saying, look, no bicycles, no work. I didn't kill my husband. This is according to Miss Nsenga. You know the lady, she's still battling this court case after her husband died on her hands, if you like. Police to ban smoking shisha in public places. Now look, this is according to Kampala Metropolitan Police
You seem to be very passionate about this.
I seem to be very passionate about it. I was reading up a bit on shisha smoking, and I understand one puff is equivalent to 100 cigarettes. That is bad. That is really bad. We need to do something about it.
This is the excuse that our young people have. That because this was done in other Arab countries and they brought it here, you know, the Arabs used to smoke it freely. But somehow when it got here, people added their own ingredients. I have never smoked shisha. And I wish never to smoke it. But I see friends who smoke shisha.
What is their life like?
What kind of question is that?
I don't know. You tell me.
You know, they start with shisha, then they go on to weed. Okay? And someone was trying to tell me, you know, shisha is an aphrodisiac. I'm like, I do not need this external support. I have my own backup inside my body. And girls are doing it more than boys now, so...
Actually, the picture here is of a girl. She's got, you know, she's all hovering in smoke.
But I do not know whether banning it in public places is going to help, because people still smoke it in their homes. I know.
Well, maybe it will regulate it a little bit. I don't know.
What are we trying to stop? The public smoking of shisha or the smoking of shisha?
Well, when you start, because it might be hard to get into people's bedrooms to say, okay, what are you doing therein and that kind of thing. But you see, it's normally done in public places. That's why people can access it. We need to find ways of regulating
Then let
it.
us be intentional. Like in Rwanda, there's no sports betting. We either are or we are for something or against something. Don't say, like how we were, we banned Buvera, but then when we realize that we need to start some grams, we either ban the Buvera or not. So I think that's what is, and Andrew Felix Kalewesa is committing, I'm going to make sure this stops. He's still going to be defeated.
Well, let's give it a chance. You talk about sports betting. I think we need to ban sports betting in this country. You know, you move to nearly every corner of a street, there's either 3 or so of these sports betting, what do you call them? Are they clubs? Are they what? And young people go and bet away the little money they have, and we need to do something about it. Quote of the day, this is by Brazil coach Luis Felipe Scolari on 7-1 World Cup humiliation. That was by Germany. This guy says, it's probably the worst moment of my career. This is the worst day of my life, but life goes on. I like his attitude. Life goes on. I hope Techimuria, in the sense that is trying to find an exculpation here. I understand the Brazilian team went and apologized to their country.
Yeah, they did, and David Luiz was crying, and you know, things moved on. They lost. It happens.
Remind me, there is a team back in the day that I forget the year. These guys lost, and it was unexpected. When they returned, I think one of their top players was shot. Was it at the airport or something? Do you remember
Colombia.
the story of the sword? When was
that? Was Colombia. I'll ask such things to my country.
You also don't know. I thought you were
I think it was Colombia.
People. Okay.
Colombia or Italy, one of those countries. Yeah.
Now, somebody here writes a letter and says, this is actually Christian Schmidi. This guy has got an interesting
ambassador.
He says Uganda should carry out electoral reforms to achieve credible polls. You're just talking about, you know, these polls and whether or not we should have whether or not, you know, a level ground to ensure that the opposition does win an election. But at the end of the day, some of us are not too all right, whether it is the opposition or government, because look, if the FDC wins today, the opposition will be NRM, you know, so ultimately there will be some kind of opposition. But you see, if we have free and fair elections, so that we...
Again, Joel, I'm of the view that whether we had free and very, very fair elections, the opposition does not have the capacity to win an election.
You seem to just have beef with the opposition.
No, I think they are... like the government they want to remove, each of them, because
they're not very well organized.
They have, even when they come into a coalition, 2-3 weeks
later... Some of them don't vote for themselves.
Some of them get out of the coalition. They call it the coalition of the willing, but they are not willing. Olaro Tunu was the ambassador, and it's 2 years to the elections, and that's when they remember, let us get the reforms going. What were they doing the moment they lost elections? Each party is disorganized. UPC has its own issues. People in UPC do not want Olara. There are factions in DP.
There are factions in DP.
There are factions in DP. FDC has its own issues. Nandala, Muntu, those are clear conflicts. I think the only party that is disorganized and someone was, that is organized and someone was joking about it, the only reason...
Bidandisari, is it?
Well, Bidandisari, but even for Abed Bwanika, and someone is saying maybe it's organized because he's the only one in the party. But those are the only parties that seem to get it together. FDC has a lot of support, but I would never support FDC because of the conflicts that they also have. They just seem...
I think we need to build our country's politics.
I cannot trust them.
We need to build this chain too, so that at the end of the day, we have some, because you talk about now, the opposition don't trust them. I'm sure you might say you don't trust the NRM, you'll ambassador them here every morning. Let's build capacity.
When NRM gets a problem, and maybe Mbabazi is now at the forefront, everyone is talking about Mbabazi, the opposition is trying to get a way of getting Mbabazi to their sides.
Why not? What is wrong with that?
You see,
that's what the NRM is always actually buying off people from the opposition.
But you see, the NRM...
So these ones are cajoling them and saying, look, let's move you to our side. Any party would want to do that. They want to increase their numbers. They want to build a lot more capacity.
And I would feel
Where's
sorry.
the devil in that?
And I would feel sorry for Mbabazi if he crossed the opposition, because
anyway,
his career would totally fail. The NRM has helped him be where he is. He will stay strong if he stays there.
All right, address rampant youth unemployment. Let me ask you, as a youth, how cogently do you think we should address the issue of unemployment? About 6% of Uganda's youth are unemployed. That is worrisome. What should we do?
We are stuck with the mindset that office jobs are going to make us earn. So when we go to campus, kids go bachelor of what, bachelor of what, bachelor of what, we are guaranteed of jobs. But I'm now happy that there's a reality now that there are no jobs. So what are you going to do? There's an organization called Skilling Uganda, where they're teaching young people on how you can create, your own thing. What do you have? Last night I was talking to my wife and she's like, you know what? When I look at the future, I think about my ability and my opportunity. Joel, you're a good speaker. When an opportunity presents, I think you can turn into a motivational speaker. You do not need government to create that job for you. I used to play volleyball. Is there an opportunity for me to go and be a volleyballer? When it comes, I go in. You're a music player, you play the guitar. Use the talent you have and find an opportunity. But if you're waiting for government, the other day we hosted Michael Kitanda. He's studying vet medicine. But if he never becomes a veterinary doctor, what is he going to do? He will fall back to music and he'll go on. So I think young people need to realize that. And you find even most of them at campus, you just see they don't have any dream, but they just know they are going to get into an office. It is not going
behind
to
a
happen
computer.
like that.
I was having a chat with some young people the other day, and one was telling me they are frustrated they've not gotten a university posting and that kind of thing. And many times we see ourselves as failures if we don't make it, especially to Makerere or that kind of thing. We have killed technical institutions in this country.
Yes.
Look, if you go to Chiembe, those tailors there, those guys make a lot more money than many guys who sit in offices,
They
on
make
a
a
daily
lot of
basis.
money.
Yeah. And to show for the fact that we have our priorities wrong, in 2005, when National Teachers Colleges needed about 500 million shillings, for them to keep moving, government said, look, we do not have that money. And for that matter, they actually closed. And what happened? A very short while thereafter, we did see former vice president, as they were letting her go from cabinet. She was given 2.5 billion
To go and study.
To go and study a PhD. And she came back here, and of course we saw her, rearing chicken, this microfinance and that kind of thing. And we're thinking, where is the value for this money? So we have our priorities right. I think we need to encourage young people that, look,
Right.
you can do these we call them EBM Kono. It's just that we...
And I was coming to that. Our village is just there in Chisubi. So while growing up, I always knew Chisubi Technical College. And I thought to myself, okay, you can go and be an electrician. There's woodwork, there's metalwork. And as I grew up, I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to do woodwork and metalwork. But if it had to come down to deciding for myself, because at the end of the day, it's about bringing money on the table, okay? Use those opportunities. Why can't a young person, for example, go and sell juice? Why can't they
that
go?
to a young man that has finished campus, they're thinking, sell what?
We are stuck in that reality. And because we watch a lot of American TV that shows people in this glamorous world, you don't know what those people go through to earn that money. So you think when you go to a job, these are the kids that are probably now working in State House, okay? They came and they realized we need to get a lot of money to afford this lifestyle. It didn't work like that.
Well, whatever you do, look out for something that you love, enjoy doing it. It makes a lot of sense when you do what you love and you love what you do. It goes a long way. Want to cross over to Mabel to tell us what's happening on the international scene? Lots of soccer and lots of other happenings. Mabel, tell us more.
Thank you very much, Joel. On the international scene, it is a final. Not many people could have predicted Brazil, I beg your pardon, Argentina versus Germany. That will be played on Saturday. Argentina reaching the first World Cup final since 1990. We'll be talking more about that during the sports segment of the show. Now, yesterday we talked about a lady who was caught at Heathrow Airport on her way to Syria via Turkey. She had hidden some money on her body, and now there are other sisters, twin sisters, who are on the run to Syria. These are sisters who were living in Manchester. They disappeared from home about a week or so ago. Their parents reported it to the police, and now they say they are safe wherever they are. They're not saying where they actually are, but I think this is a growing threat of young people in the UK who are being brainwashed. These twin girls are 16 years old. They are going to join their brother apparently in Syria, and the border is very porous through Turkey, and that's why many of them are choosing to use that route. Again here, Argentina to face Germany in the final. Argentina have piled more misery to arch rivals Brazil by booking a place in the final with a penalty shootout, which we saw early this morning, I should say, against the Netherlands. And the Iraqi Prime Minister claims the Kurds are harboring ISIS militants. The Prime Minister here is further dividing his country by accusing the Kurds of hosting these Islamic militants. If you recall, already these people in the northern part are very, they have some kind of autonomy there. So now this, and we may actually see the country divide slowly but surely, an issue of the Sudan that we had here. Moving on to BBC, Nigeria has been suspended from international football by FIFA. They say that the government has interfered too much into it. That means the no Nigerian club can play in any international game until FIFA reinstates them. FIFA has given Nigeria's government until Tuesday to reinstate the sacked Nigeria Football Federation Executive Committee, or as Dakaba would say, FUFA wa Nigeria. Moving on, we have a gentleman here who apparently is Ethiopia's most wanted criminal. He is an opposition leader. He was arrested in Yemen. It's raising concerns. Why was he extradited from Yemen? His wife is in the UK. He's just an opposition leader, but according to the Ethiopians, he is on their most wanted list. He was paraded before TV. In a way, he wasn't very coherent, so they do think he has been tortured. Now, if you're a teenager watching, or maybe you know a 15-year-old, would you know the difference between a payslip and an invoice? Well, a study was conducted amongst 15-year-olds, and apparently the Chinese teenagers are smarter than the American teenagers. The American teenagers fall below average when it comes to understanding the value of money, and the Chinese are considered to be the best. And I was wondering, what about our Ugandans here? In 15, maybe you're in S3, S4. Do you know what a payslip is? Do you know what an invoice is? Or even if you're much older, you may wonder what that is. Well, anyway, Money Smarts here on the CNN webpage. Now, Edward Snowden, we haven't heard much from him. He's the NSA leaker, the whistleblower, hero, I don't know, whatever you want to call him, a terrorist. He's asking to extend his asylum in Russia. He was granted temporary asylum. It's coming to an end, and he wants it extended. And we'll end with Reuters, which is talking about, this is also another big story on many websites, 6 people being killed, including 4 children in the Houston area shooting. We have seen this shooting, I think, almost every month. Probably there's a shooting. Someone just goes on a rampage and shoots people. The victims here ranged from 4 to 40 years, and the gentleman surrendered to police after a lengthy standoff in a mass slaying that took place yesterday. And that's all we had for you. Morning at NTV continues after the break.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Jango Bidave, Jango Toakana, ku Airtel Money, yes, Toakana, with 1 million shillings up for grabs every day. Kagwida wo ku Airtel Money. Simply send and receive money, top up your airtime or data, pay for utility bills, groceries, fuel, and much more with Airtel Money, and you could be one of the day's 5 lucky winners. And if Mr. Money and his crew find you making a transaction, you win cash on the spot. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel Money. Simple, secure, instant.
The moment. When football was a cause.
Herrera dos Santos offside.
On the moment, life ceased. Today, after 7-11.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Thank you for joining us today, Thursday, July the 10th, coming to you live from the Kampala Serena Hotel. We now cross over to Joel for today's big story. Good morning, Joel. Whom do you have today?
Good morning, Mabel. I have an interesting gentleman. He was in the news for one or two reasons. Mr. Fajil Mande is an education consultant. This morning we want to, in some way, try and decipher this education system of ours, the things that our children do study. Are they still relevant? And of course, the other bloopers there are. We've got UPE. Some people think it is a botched program, and other predicaments that our education system is grappling. And more cogently, we want to see what kind of solution can we have? What should the remedy be? We'll talk that when we get back for the big story. Welcome to the big story. My name is Joel Senyonyi. Joining me this morning as we talk education in Uganda is Mr. Fajil Mande. He's a former UNEB board chairman. He's an education consultant. He's been there, done all these things. And he's the right man to talk about this. Good to have you here, Chief.
Thank you very much.
The last
Good
time,
morning, viewers.
The last time you and I had a chat, you were still a UNEB board chairman.
Yes.
And I remember a statement that you made when you were being investigated that, look, I can resign this position, but the country will lose a great deal. Do you still stand by this? Do you feel the country has lost, and for that matter, the education system in this country?
Well, the education system, not really, but as far as UNEB is concerned, yeah. Because I think I've got something unique, and I like to blow my trumpet when I have it in my hand. I have something unique. I have different methods of work. I have an regular look at education, and my methods, I think, would make a difference. There is a way I do my things, and I like them done in the interest of Uganda and in the interest of Africa. I think that's the missing point, right? But otherwise, I'm still carrying on my work as an education consultant. I still evaluate schools. I still meet teachers and train them. I do all sorts of programs with education plus parenting, and of course now I'm increasing my time with the writing of my books. I have already 6 books, and then to look after my other interests. But generally, I'm still committed to contributing to my country, full stop. Yeah.
Interesting. There was a report about 2 months ago by UWOZO that showed that Uganda has declined. We used to be first place in East Africa as far as education is concerned. We are now second, being beaten by Kenya. There was a time when Kenyans would fly to this country to come and study. That does not seem to be the case. Well, we still have a number of them, but we are now second place. What do you think is going wrong?
I think what is going wrong is the implementation of what has been planned to be put in place, the implementation. And then 2, I think our view on what we want to produce out of our school system. And I want to repeat this. Until Uganda sits down to define what sort of product we want out of our school system, we are not going to put the exact programs we want into the school system. It's first of all, it's like me. What I want to be defines my actions, defines my friends, and defines my method of work. So we need to define our learner? What do we want to get at the end of P7? What sort of student, boy or girl, do we want to get at the end of senior 4? What do we want after senior 6? What do we want after university? What do we want out of the other tertiary institutions? That definition will also dictate on what sort of programs we put in place. I think that coordination, that clarity is still missing.
I get bothered by our education system. Back in the day, we studied geography, and that's why we're studying the problems of New York, the prairies of Canada, and that kind of thing. For goodness sake, Kampala has a lot more problems that we should study about. That is why when we finish school, we're all clamoring to get a visa and that kind of thing. Yeah. It worries me that our education system is this way. Does it worry you as an education consultant, as a former board chairman of UNEB?
Yeah. It does, because we need to come down to the ground. Boys and girls need to be pulled down from sitting for 12 hours on a chair and looking at the 4 walls and the ceiling, if there is a ceiling, to more practical work. Let us relate our work to what happens in real life. I also think that we need, of course, to go beyond Uganda, because now we are in the East African community. We need to go beyond into Africa and then also look at the world. But we begin with what is on the ground. That's what makes education relevant. If you combine that with the defined learner we want, we shall get a Ugandan that can build Uganda and build Africa at the same time.
There's many that will look at UPE and think of it as a Bosch program. It was a very welcome initiative back in 1997 when it was introduced, because we thought, well, if people are going to study free of charge, that is a good thing. Education should be available to all. But here is a scenario, about 6,500 shillings, per student. Teachers are not coming to class. These children are studying under trees. We seem to have quantity education as opposed to quality education. You were in government. I imagine you probably were one of those that mooted this idea.
I was actually the chairman of the implementation committee
there
of
you
UPE
are. So
in 1990.
would you concede that this your program is a Bosch program?
No, it's not yet completely boshed.
It's been many years.
It has been
1997
diluted.
is a
It
long
has
while
been,
ago.
no, but at the same time, my experience and relationship with the UPE doesn't stop when I was chairman, when I was still deputy commissioner, minister of education. I still go to schools. As I said, I evaluate schools. I make training programs, innovative training programs. So I know exactly what is taking place. And also my recent experience with UNEB, I did get exposed more from an examination angle about UPE. UPE is, I think we can say, for me, I think that it is got about 40% good.
40%
Children still wake up 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, and go to school. You find them running to the school. They still associate with their friends. They still listen to the teachers. They still do some co-curricular, although would have desired more. They still carry out some work in the classroom. There is some learning. But what I'm saying is that we could improve the quality of what is taking place in the schools. For example, we could, or we'll come to that, we need to improve. The numbers are there, the teachers are there, more classrooms are there, but what is happening there is what we need to look at.
You are a teacher, and many times teachers in this country have felt left out. They felt marginalized. They don't earn well enough. This niggardly salary doesn't even come on time. One would imagine that one of our biggest problems in this country is that we do not value teachers who are meant to go out there and ensure that our children have the right material, they excel and become something out of themselves.
I agree. I think I have said it before, and I think I've raised it in one of my newer books, which is soon going to be published. We need to lift the image of the teacher up. I was reading a story about the Japanese teacher. The teacher in Japan is taken like a prophet. The maker of the human being.
We actually used to respect them here. We used to call them walimu and that kind of thing.
Exactly. So we have a challenge as a country. We need to uplift the image of our teacher. There are many programs that can be done to lift the image. We need to bring to near a prophet, to near an idol of the teacher, so that the teacher now may do his or her work to change this country. There are many things we need to do. There is the need to increase the salary. There is the need to train the teacher more properly to fulfill the image which I talked about. Once we have defined what sort of student we want, we must also define what sort of teacher do we have in this country, or should we have, so that the teacher may make or unlock the student we want to be unlocked into a productive unit. So I agree with you, all efforts must be made to improve the image. Now, the image is not made, I must underline this, the image is not made only by salaries. the teacher himself or herself must raise up. I mean, why am I an education consultant? Who trained me to be an education consultant? Why am I on NTV now? Why am I sounding? I was a teacher, and I've never done I have done other jobs, but I'm essentially a teacher, a proud teacher who begins by thinking that I am the changer of everybody out there. You get me? Where is the time when a teacher entered a mosque or entered a church and everybody turned? That's a big factor. But I agree, the salary matters quite a lot. Other conditions of the teacher matter quite a lot. How is the teacher evaluated today matters quite a lot. Who constantly evaluates the teacher? If you're grade 3, are you still grade 3 after 3 years, or have you reduced? We have no evaluation program of the teacher in Uganda today concretely. Okay, so what programs does the teacher go through when they are going for training? I was made a teacher by my tutors in Chambogo when I was training. I have said in one of my books that those tutors made me a teacher within 2 weeks. I fell in love with the teaching profession. Through the programs and how they handled me, I was fired up. Who fires up the teacher today? First of all, the teachers themselves have failed to fire themselves. You can say because of low salary. But if you earn a low salary and your emotional levels are very low and your intellectual challenge is very low, then you have a disaster in the teacher.
Look, one of the other indictments that government does face is that we seem to have our priorities the wrong side up. You have been in government before, and we look at the budgetary allocation to education, and you're thinking, this is worrisome. You know, it prognosticates doom. If we are having, classrooms crumbling on our children, those are for those that do have some kind of structure over their heads. Some just do it under trees. Before you came on the set, during the press review, I gave an example. In 2005, we did have a situation. NTC's, National Teachers Colleges, required about 500 million shillings to keep operating, and government said we do not have that money. So they closed. A very short while thereafter, former Vice President was leaving cabinet. Former Vice President, Specioza Wandira Kazi, was leaving cabinet, and she was given 2.5 billion shillings to go and study a PhD. I'm not too sure how that PhD is helping us as a country. And all these and many other examples go to show that government does not seem to prioritize this thing called education, which can actually metamorphose things as we know them in this country.
Yeah, I agree there is a big element of lack of prioritization. A big element, not completely. I think, for example, we need to prioritize on the teacher. And I want to say it here. If we want to move to Vision 2040 and catch up with the developed countries, we cannot catch up with the developed countries until we transform, we change the human resource in this country. And who is among the biggest changers? One of the biggest changers, actually, apart from the parents and the community and other stakeholders, the teacher is the human resource maker. Now, until you put more effort into who is this teacher, what does this teacher know, how does this teacher work, what is the motivation of this teacher, we are not going to produce a better student than the teacher himself. Because remember that today, 75% of the time is being spent on doing examinations. That's what I'm saying as a consultant, because I carried out an experiment, and also when I was Commissioner for Education, I did ask the late Dr. Carrasco to carry out how time is used in the school. 75% of the time is spent on doing examinations. Now, how do you develop a complete worker, a complete citizen out of that when you don't put your priorities first? I think it is high time. I know it is very costly on government. I have studied it. It is a lot of money. The teachers are many, but we've got to close the eye and put more money into the teacher. Salary-wise, the way we supervise the teacher, the way we evaluate the teacher, with the way we train the teacher.
You seem to insinuate that the buck stops with the teacher in as far as this whole thing is concerned. And I'm thinking, what is the role of the parent? You are a parent, and we see parents saying that, look, with this UPE, we cannot feed our children. Government is saying, we can cater for the others. Can you at least avail some cassava or whatever the case might be for your child to go to school and study? Where does the parent come in all this?
Actually, the teacher is the engine, the engineer is the director. I think there are 3 schools in life, and I've written about these, in my book called Top Secrets of Educating Your Child. The first school is the home. Do we have any sort of curriculum for the home? When you have a son or daughter, do you know how to introduce your child to economics? Do you know how to introduce your child to reading and understanding? Do you know there is a school at home? Then there is a community school. Again, that is very unguided. You see what is happening in Kampala City Authority. Jennifer Musisi, who I admire greatly, is pushing in a direction which is correct against a wave of opposition. This is improving the community. Then, of course, the formal school is the third school. So first of all, until Uganda handles the 3 schools, and I think the Prime Minister, Great Britain, did raise this when there were riots there. He said the 3 schools, the home, the community, and the school, have not done their job. As a learner, you and me, the viewers out there, you are made by those 3 schools. Now, those are 3. Government must put effort there. Number 2, there are individual stakeholders or players. For example, management committees. There is no school in this country, particularly in government schools, which doesn't have a management committee. What is the thinking of management committees in this country? Have they been trained? Have they been sensitized? Why don't we hear their voices? Boards of governors for secondary schools. I think they have let down schools in this country or education in this country. I think also we can say it is not their fault. They need to be upgraded on what is a school, what product do they want out of their school, and what can they do as a board. I want more concrete efforts to drive that force back there. What about the education managers, district education officers, district inspectors of schools, commissioners? What is their thinking package? And what are their methods of work? And what is their vision when they are deciding programs in our schools? Where then the parents? Do the parents understand today what sort of child do they want? And I will tell you, a lot of parents do not understand. What a lot of parents think is what the country has made them to believe, that once you score 4 in PLE or you score 18 in O-level, the child has passed. No, I tell them as an education consultant, as a senior parent, because I've got 16 grandchildren and 6 grown-up children who I train, you get me, that we need to look beyond passing examinations. So the parent today does not ask that when my child has passed PLE, can my child speak well? When I have a wedding ceremony, a celebration, can my child stand up and make a speech? Can my child work can my child generate ideas? When my child is done senior 4, can they communicate? Can they work? The parent is misguided completely, and we need to turn around the picture. Therefore, that means redefining the role of the parent.
Somebody made a statement. Feeding
the child.
Yeah. I'm not limited to that, and a lot more. Somebody made a statement that, look, education is the worst thing that ever happened to some people, because it curtails them in this kind of box, and they cannot think a great deal. It is a lot more theoretical than is necessary. How do we turn that around?
Well, I have said, and I think this is about the 4th time I'm saying it. Now I think, in our situation in Uganda, that the longer you remain at school, the more curtailed you become, the more stupid you become. I'll give you an example.
So many of us are educated fools, you say?
Absolutely. How many people know how to read, but what do they read? And what is their understanding? And what is their thought level? A child goes to primary school, they can run, they can sing, they're very active, hyper. They go to senior 1, senior 2, they still do running and do drama. Senior 3, senior 4, they no longer want to do anything. They just want to remain in class. Swagger. Senior 5, senior 6, you don't see runners in the sports today. They are not doing anything. It's the senior 1, senior 2, senior 3 students who are doing it. You go to university, what else does a student at university do apart from attending the few lectures and spending the time, 3/4 of the time, on other unuseful or useless activities? So you begin to be thinner and thinner mentally, emotionally, and physically. You get me? So what we would like is, by the time a student goes to university, you should be more powered, so that you are ready now to go into the world that is waiting for you. Or by the time you do senior 6, you should be more powered. Your talent should have been dug out more. But is that the case today?
As we wind up, you did talk about passing exams. We seem to focus a great deal on that. You know, there's a time when PLE results were out. There's a child that got 5.
Yeah.
They were disconsolate, they were inconsolable.
Because they didn't
They felt they had failed. And look, there's many other young people that are probably watching and they're thinking, I failed. I failed my senior 4, I failed my senior 6. I feel like a total failure. I can't go to university.
Yeah.
How does such a young person still make something out of themselves?
No, I will tell them, when I did my exams, I did senior 4. I didn't go for HSC. I didn't go for senior 5. I went straight to Chamboga and trained. And I got an upper second. degree. And I worked for 10 years with a diploma. After 10 years, I went for upgrading through mature age. So university, and I want to repeat this, going to the university is not the key to your personal success, but exploring your internal abilities, changing yourself into somebody who can generate ideas and carry out service or produce is the greatest thing. I think anybody now involved in idea production, service delivery, and production is better off. That's why people have said most of the successful people are not the most brilliant at the university. Not because they were not brilliant. No. School alone dries you up, but the world expands you. So if you can go through school, so you have not failed. I've been moving to technical schools. A lot of students who are doing jobs to do with vocation think they have failed. You get me? And I tell them, you are the one. You are the ones inside the real thing. You are the powerhouse because you have the skills. Skills can never let you down. If I know how to write, I will never be let down. If I know how to talk, I will never be let down. If I know how to dance, I will never be let down. If I know how to work, I will never be let down. So you are the right place. If you get an opportunity to go upwards, go in. But I would advise you go upwards by improving the skills which you have.
Mr. Fajil Mande, education consultant, pleasure having you here this morning.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Good.
My opinion is coming up shortly. Or break a nation, depending on what kind of education it is. Look, I get bothered every now and again when I see what our young people do study in their schools. Geography, for example. We study about New York, the problems of New York, the prairies of Canada, and that kind of thing. How about we concentrate a little more on our Uganda? Because this education is what was handed down to our colonialists. They had their interests and not ours at heart. I think we need to see some kind of metamorphosis if things are to change. We've talked about technical institutes. Can we, in many ways, encourage them and not look at these as failures? Be a carpenter, be a plumber, or whatever the case might be a tailor. These people do make some good money, and we need to encourage young people to go out for this. You know, going and doing a degree in underwater bubble blowing or whatever the case might be, and then you're on the streets of Kampala, probably is not that helpful. It is possible that we can change this country using education, however, the right kind of education. That's the big story for this morning. Morning at NTV continues shortly. Do stay with us.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
They've had their struggle, but that's about to change. They're 15 individuals with different backgrounds and one goal. They'll be tested to the bone with 3 professional trainers and supervised by a reputable medical team, weighed every week where one has to be eliminated. If you want to be inspired, have a healthy body, and gain confidence, this is your show. Follow these individuals on their amazing journey because cameras don't lie. Burn it up, transforming lives as we create a healthier Uganda.
Ekifo ekimu kisawa musu n'ekyalo ekiweddeko abamanye bakiraza mumwa. Tugenda kutuuka gy'oli oyogere naffe ebikwata ku kyalo kyo, embeera mw'okolera, ebyobufuzi, ebyobulamu n'ensonga endala nnyingi. Ebyogerwa tebiyita. Tuusa eddoboozi lyo, yogera naffe buli Lwakuna butereevu ku NTV Akawungeezi.
Obonyumirwa ebyemizannyo jangu nkulage.
Does! And Adam Johnson, the boyhood Newcastle United man, historic, flying in the face of all football logic. A magnificent goal by Robin van Persie. Ferdinand! Everton lead at Old Trafford. Walcott, Giroud. Suarez.
Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
Follow the beat, follow the beat. Follow the beat. Follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat, follow the beat.
Follow the beat.
You can bring everybody in parliament as long as they can wake up and vote for the NRM.
As long as the voters exercise their rights to elect their leaders, there was no need for term limits in Uganda.
I know him. I know how he operates. I know how he thinks.
There are ways you can go around these obstacles.
Why should I conduct myself as if I am MUI?
It's absolutely true. I admired President Museveni.
Is the ICC a fiscal code targeting African leaders?
You cannot tell me that the whole trouble Kenya had revolved about only the two individuals.
The money is not in the budget of this financial year.
You can't beat God. You see, God is polygamous also. Look at Jeremiah chapter 31.
The security of this country will largely depend on the contribution that the people make.
On the next episode, brought to you by...
At Orange, we know you want to do more on the internet. That's why we bring you happy hour day and night.
African Apple.
Come again.
Oli kukona.
Ko NTV ne rami to big up.
Kinga tusibide Copenhagen. Mulengera ebintu bya sama nga bwotulengera nemwe bale kutoja tako banagwana bali sente banyumirwa bakola ebintu ebyenjawulo bali ogw'omulembe tugenda mu club ezenji ngeri enjawulo tulina emyaka 28 ali ku street akuba jita tulina ne mu mboozi ey'enjawulo tulina Big Eye
eno kona ya Mbukinga
mpola nga twegasseko and of course Voice September
yenze original
nga ne banyenya ebyokulaba Miles wa Miti
kona
You can download movies at the lowest prices and never fast from Orange. Dial *133# to buy a data bundle. Happy hour changes with Orange. Today changes with Orange.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Mulondo.
Thank you for joining us this Thursday, the 10th day of July. On to some of your messages on Facebook regarding the press review. We have Van Gwaivu saying, telling Mulondo that in Rwanda, sports betting is there, but it is regulated well. We have Iga Simon watching from Arua saying good morning, and we have Stuart saying that tea looks sweet during the shows. Well, if you want to partake that tea, maybe wherever you are, well, we can only help you with a cup. Be among the first people to answer our question of the day correctly, and you will win yourself a morning at NTV Mag. Now, on to some of your comments regarding the big story we had Fajil Mande on earlier. And we have Jacob here asking about result slips and what UNEB is doing. We have Kevis Katende saying government is not creating new things in education. They need to change because the system is poor. Now, there were some statistics that came out yesterday regarding Twitter. This was during the Germany-Brazil game. Now, this was where the tweets were most, and I was very happy to see Uganda and Kenya representing East Africa as one of the countries where most of the tweets were being exchanged. Yesterday, a record indeed was broken by over 500,000 tweets being sent per minute right after the Germans scored their 5th goal. Altogether, 35.6 million tweets were tweeted, or million tweets were made during the German-Brazil game. We now cross over to Brian for Everyday Life. Good morning, Brian.
Morning, Mabel. A young man approached me and asked, well, to confirm whether it was the girl's job to make sure that they don't get pregnant. And as a point of rebuttal, I asked him why he thought it was the girl's job. And his reply was because the girl's mother ought to have told her how to prevent getting pregnant. And so I asked him, wasn't your father supposed to tell you that you should use a condom so that you don't have unwanted pregnancies. But the question also keeps looming, who is responsible? Who should have told the boy? Who should have told the girl? This morning we're going to look at how parents should help their children, especially when it comes to areas of sexuality, when we come back on Everyday Life. Aaron Tumusime this morning joining us, a counseling psychiatrist. Good morning. Psychologist. Yes, what is the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist?
Psychologists are counselors who help normal people, whereas psychiatrists, those are the people who help people who are outside the norm trends.
The ones at Butabika,
yes,
for
please.
Example. Good morning. You've been on this show before.
Yes, please.
And thank you so much for coming back.
You are welcome.
It is very common for us, parents to leave our teachers, the maids, do all that work for us. And the work you've done, why aren't parents fulfilling that role of talking to their children?
Okay. First and foremost, it is the responsibility of parents to bring or raise responsible children into adult life, meaning that children should be raised in a way that is desirable to the society, to be responsible adults, and to be disciplined citizens. So at the end of the day, right from the beginning, parents are the first teachers to their children to raise them, though alongside the way, children also go into different fields. At school, they spend most of their time at school, but also they may also be in boarding schools. Apart from classes, they are also but they also interact with peers.
Right.
So, but at the end of the day, parents are supposed to help these children to raise them in a more responsible way and teach them most of the things.
Is it because that while most parents grew up when they also were never told about these things, so they do not see the relevance of passing that information on to their children?
Yeah, sometimes that is very true, yes and no. Because in most cases you will find that if you are raised in a certain manner, when you grow up, you think that way is what is right.
Yes.
Because you are not, ABCZ was not done to you, and you don't expect also to do it to someone else.
Yeah.
But also there are also those people who are raised up very well, were told ABCZ, but because of change as far as trends in society are concerned, maybe your parents were always there for you. They did not have a job that would separate families. They had a job, maybe they were peasants. They were there always for you at home in the evening and in the morning. But it may be a different case where you find that, for example, today, someone goes early when children are sleeping and comes late when they are already asleep. And the same thing also happened to weekend and sometimes also something like that. So yes and no.
Someone the other day was saying that, parents are also shy to talk about sexuality, especially when it comes to sexuality, because it's kind of a very touchy subject to talk about. And it's hard to talk about sexuality. Even with our peers, some people can't ably express themselves when you start matters of sexuality. Is there a way parents should introduce this to their kids? And is it actually important, or when they turn 18, then you start the topic?
No, it may not necessarily be that one. True that most people do not feel comfortable talking about sex, sexuality, and maybe later sexual intercourse. There are many things there. Sex is being a male or female, whereas sexuality is being a male or female, but also has a component of gender, of who we are, female or males, but also including our roles, gender roles.
Yes.
But also later in life when people get married, because what I need to emphasize right from the beginning is that sex is holy and was initiated by God. If we talk about sexual intercourse, is holy and was initiated by God, and its major purpose was for procreation, companionship, and complementarity, but only and only meant to be in
the
marriage.
Yes.
So apart from being in marriage, we don't expect, and there is no society, by the way, in the whole world, which approves sex before marriage or before outside marriage. Right. So what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that, yes, some people are shy, but at the end of the day, it is, and it should not wait until 18, because by the time you reach 18, we have media, we have newspapers, we have televisions, we have other sources of information, peers. So, and we don't expect that you keep quiet, you don't tell your child about sex and sexuality until 18, because they will have known. And it is very bad for the children. They don't feel good. They don't have any trust in the parents if they get this information from other sources. Because they would expect that, yes, information that is pertaining, as far as pertaining to my life, that is paramount to my life, should be received from my parents. So if they get it from somewhere else, then they ask themselves, why my parents are not communicating to me? What are they hiding away from me? So it is very important that we tell these children, as far as we look at their growth and development, as they go through growth and development milestones, we keep on telling them things that they can understand at that stage of development.
Do parents, is it that most parents do not actually want to know that their kids are sexually active? It's very, it's very sad. In the US, for example, more than 2,500 teens get pregnant every day. When a parent realizes that their child is sexually active and they know that they are one of the reasons why that child got off the course, doesn't it make them resign and say, I have failed, so why am I even trying to save? It's already gone.
Most of the times they don't anticipate what is likely to happen. When they don't communicate this information, they believe that they are not going to know. But naturally, as I have said, there are many ways how these children are going to access this information. So the more we tell them, the more they become aware, and therefore take precautions. It is better, like someone, if you are in dark and someone tells you there is a pit in front of you, you are going to take care and maybe know that, yes, you are careful so that you don't fall in that pit. Unlike someone who has not been told, is likely to land into the pit because he does not know. So the most important information is that these children need to know everything that they are supposed to know. We are growing from childhood into adolescenthood, but also into young adults. So they need to know, we need to teach them, to help them understand that these are the things that are going to happen. These are expectations. As you grow, things are supposed to happen. You are going to grow big, you are going to change your voice, you are going to grow beards, you are going to grow, your size will increase. So that at the end of the day, they help. Like, for example, I met a student who told me one time was in senior 1, and when she got the normal periods, the periods that normally people get, she was so scared. And I could imagine, I saw her in class and I identified that she actually had the problem. So I called her in the office and said, what is the problem? Can I help? She tried to resist and say, no, these are the issues of women. I said, no, I'm a parent and also a counselor. So I can help you. She later opened up and told me, I saw blood coming out from my private parts. No, it is normal. It is normal, and this is what I led her through what it means. And later, I told her to wrap a on her skirt, and I gave her money for buying pads, and I gave her a boda to take her because their home was not very far from school. And I told the sister who was in upper classes that when she goes back, she helps her, because I tried to demonstrate and explain to her how they could use pads, but at the same time also told her to read the instructions. Then I told the sister that when she goes back home, she helps. That meant that really this child has not been taken through the life aspects. So this is what you expect to see, this is what is likely to happen, and when it happens, don't get frightened because it is normal. That is the scenario that I would actually give you as an example.
If you're just joining us, I'm with Aaron Tumusime, who is a clinical psychologist, and we are
Counseling psychologist.
Counseling psychologist.
Yes,
and we're asking ourselves, why is it that parents do not take the time to talk to their children about matters of not just sexuality, but also drug abuse, because we are now seeing Ugandans who are being hanged in China. Are we going to wait our kids to go through the same scenarios? Andrew Felix Kawe, I'm going to make sure that I go to every bar where shisha is smoked, and I'll make sure who is responsible for that. Send your morning at NTV, and of course Twitter at morning at NTV. People tell me, and I understand you are supposed to introduce particular topics at what age. What would, for example, what would you tell, say, a 6-year-old? Because they are watching TV, kids are doing what they call, I think, dirty dancing right now. You go to a party and kids are dancing City Arosi, and you're like, where did these kids learn these things? And we believe that parents are exposing. So what do you tell such a child whose brain is very active and grabbing everything as it comes?
You mean about sex and sexuality?
About everything.
About
literally.
everything.
Yes.
For example, a child, first of all, when you say they watch TV, first of all, parents should be in control to know what kind of programs that are on your screen, and what children or soaps that children are watching. That is important and very paramount for parents. Secondly, we need to tell children things according to their age, and their understanding. So that if, for example, a child is asking about private parts, then we say this is susu according to the age of that child. If someone is asking about what is this one, we tell, then we may also bounce a question back to this child. What do you think this one is? And the child may say, my friends, or this one I heard about. You tell a more way to say that this is this one, but as far as the age and understanding of this child.
Isn't it guarding them? They realize that you've been lying to them. They break the rule.
We are not, I'm saying we are not supposed to lie to children, but we are supposed to tell children the information according to their age, not lying that this is that. No. We are supposed, actually lying as a parent is a very dangerous thing, because you are teaching your children to lie. But also we are also talking about what we call teachable moments. There are certain things that may come, either a child has read something in newspapers, a child has got something in has seen something on TV, and then that would be a teachable moment to help you teach the child, this is ABCZ. And when you do ABCZ, it might also bring, for example, someone would say, we've seen someone smoking, for example, a cigarette. Is it good to smoke? Then that would be your time to come in. We call it a teachable moment, because an opportunity has come in. You have not intended or planned to sit this child down, but an opportunity has come that now you are going to teach this child, yes, smoking is like this one. You hear people, they are talking about on TV that we are supposed to ban smoking. What does it do? When